Hi there, my name is Diane Morrison, and I'm a science fiction and fantasy author. I'm looking for your help to publish my novel, A Few Good Elves. Three years ago, you guys helped me publish Once Upon a Time in the Weird West, which is a collection of my Weird Western serial stories. And 2 years ago, you helped me to edit and publish Gunsmoke and Dragonfire, a fantasy western anthology. I figure we make a winning team. The Toy Soldier Saga is a fantasy space opera universe. It has all of the elements of space opera science fiction, but everything's done by magic. I don't think there's anything out there that is quite like it. And I really hope that you'll enjoy it and the extended universe that has been created around it.
I am Chris. I play Arian, the grizzled older ex-enlisted elf.
Remember, we've only got 30 days to make this happen. With your support, you can have some of the art that's been created for the books, you can have the stories, the ebook, a trade paperback copy, a hardcover copy, you might be able to get them signed. You could even get the entire collection of everything that I have previously published or been published in. Thanks in advance for your support, and thank you for listening. And hello and welcome once again to Diane Writes. Thank you very much for joining me, everybody. Hi, James. Hi, Shadow. You got affiliates. You can do stuff with Game of Tones. Game of Tones. We're going to be talking about that. That's great. Hello, Cayutan. Good to see you. James just got back from Brighton, so won't be writing. Fair enough. Purple Heart Natalia says fun ads. That's cool. Hello, Barbarossa. Good to see you. I think you're pretty awesome too. Hello, Amelie. Posture check and hydrate. Lappin' for life, indeed. That will be awesome, James. Oh, and let's see here. Oh, 2 of the showcase slots have been taken, so there's 1 more available. And hello, Daz. Good to see you. Cayutan says, by the way, sorry for the absence on Sunday. Just didn't feel like watching. You know what? Don't apologize for just not being into Twitch one day. I really, we miss your company around here when you're not around. But if you got stuff to do, it's really fine. There's life outside of Twitch. I'm really okay with that. Honest. It's cool. Don't never feel the need to apologize for that. That's totally fine. And hello, Moon. I don't even flinch at the World Anvil ad explosions anymore, they say, and I'm not sure if that's better or worse. Yeah, I hear you. You're like, I'm accustomed. Hello, Rowan. Good to see you. And now up for pre-order, Nova Babylon. Let's have a look. And James, I did see your question, and we will go to it right after this, for sure. I'm very excited for Natalia and her book. I think this looks fucking great. I'm always into sci-fi. I love this cover. I know the cover was made by the Lady Writes. I think it's fantastic. Dad says, my article isn't complete yet, so not ready for a proper Rip My Work showcase. That's fair enough. And hello, Stretch. Good to see you. Alright, so looking at Nova Babylon, Robin is admitted to a home for girls and makes friends there. 9 whole years pass, and the group of friends, the Fallen Angels as they call themselves, cause a lot of trouble for the local police force, the Novas. But when war breaks out, the friends don't hesitate for a moment. They offer a helping hand in exchange for food and shelter. The finger of blame for the attacks on Nova Babylon is soon pointed to the near planet Katia, and its nearby and its inhabitants, the Katians. After the fallen angels have proven themselves, they are sent by Richard Lionel to Katia, where they come face to face with their enemy, or so they think. That sounds great. YA science fiction fantasy, that's excellent. Release date August 13th. Here's some character articles, that's fantastic. Statistics, good stuff. Reading time 2 to 3 hours, 37,000 words, 137 pages, so a really good sized novella you can sink your teeth into. The editor is Kimberly Lawrenson and Dennis Van Peppen, and Natalia is the publisher, and coming soon, paperbacks. I am looking forward to the paperbacks. I am going to buy one. I would like one of those. That would be nice. Others in the series, Flaming Arrow and Blood on a White Sand. Oh, and we have a preview, which I don't think I've seen. I'm not going to play the inspiration video because I think that it is probably copyrighted to someone else, but yeah, and about the author, Natalia Books is a dreamer and turns these dreams into stories, each with their own world and charm. She prefers to write all day long, and she loves to forget the world around her. Her worlds take you to deserted places and unknown cities. We're going to turn off the music here for the moment, because I'm going to show the preview. She introduces you to unknown races and beliefs. Let's have a look. I wonder if I can... Probably there's like a full... Okay, no, I gotta start playing it first. Okay. Alright, so... Let's full screener. I like your background, that's really cool. Your music's cool too. That is a beautiful trailer. Wow, that is really cool, Natalia. I want to read this book, and you know what? Of course, I want to read it because you're my friend, and I know you're a good writer. But if I didn't know you from Eve, I would want to read that book now. I'd be like, give me the damn book. That is awesome. Way to go. That is beautiful. Perfect. I totally get the feel of it. I'm keenly interested. It's emotional actually for me to see you succeeding so well. It's just beautiful. Strange things sometimes make you cry, but I'm just so happy to see, I mean, your trailers are excellent. This is a cut above the rest that you've done, and yeah, I want to read this in a big way. That is fantastic. I'm so excited for you. That is really, really cool. Hello, Satrim. Good to see you. Also, yes, the music is kick-ass. What a good choice. What a good choice. That is so great. Fantastic. Just fantastic. All right, we're going to address James's question, and then I'm going to talk about something else that's coming up. So James says, question, what should a history article about reinserting the telegraph lines have in the sense of template? I was thinking either technology or geography. I would personally go with technology myself. And if you find that you need geography for places where the telegraph lines are inserted, that would be really cool too. Reeves hug check. Hugs are great, guys. Hugs are great. This is such a beautiful community. Yeah, happy tears. It just makes me so happy to see you guys succeeding, and getting out there and getting your stuff out there for other people to see. I mean, that's what I wanted to do with this channel, right? So way to go, Natalia. Go order her book. I'm waiting for the paperbacks. I'm going to get a paperback. You tell me when those pre-orders are live, and I'm buying one. Okay, we're going to talk about something else that's coming up here, guys. And then after that, I'm going to put on the sprint timer. And I'm going to start, I think let's see. I'm in a mood to share, so I'm going to start with showcases today, I think, and then I'll do some sprinting after that. I'm just doing some editing today on To Know Your Enemy, Book 2 in the Toy Soldier Saga. Oh, yes, and I should check in on the Kickstarter, shouldn't I? Let's do that first. I haven't even looked at it this morning. I was up late. I got up. I went, okay, shit, I got to get ready to stream. There was some conduit information that I had to talk about. Link to the music, which is royalty free. I'm certainly gonna check that out. It's hard to find good royalty free music. I found, by the way, a great one if you want to spend a couple bucks every now and then. Yeah, here we are. 2807 is our current total out of 3,690 being the goal. There are 53 backers. Thank you guys so much. That is awesome. And let's see, 76% funded. Awesome, guys. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for the support. That is really great. I really appreciate it. I'm believing this is going to happen. We're going to knock on the wood because we never jinx things by saying, it's going to happen. We don't do that, but okay. I am totally going to, what am I going to do with this? I'm going to put this over here so that I don't end up playing. It's royalty free. That doesn't mean it's copyright free. It means that, you got to license it, right? Okay, so I found something called Royalty Free Zone. You can find them on Bandcamp, and you can license their music for like $5 a track to use however you want. So that's what I did for my Kickstarter music. That's where I got that. I could probably drop that link in the chat, right? So I'll do that too for those of you who are looking for royalty-free music. It was royaltyfreezone.bandcamp.com. So there's another place you can go. I think it's great. So, but the music you chose was fantastic, Natalia. Just perfect. Just perfect. Really moving. That's great. Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about something else that's coming up. And I know we haven't been talking about it a lot because, of course, first we'll talk about, by the way, yes, Conduit this weekend. This weekend. starting Friday. It will start at the Conduit channel. I'll put that link in the chat here as soon as the command comes up, because it's being a pain in my ass right now for some unknown reason. Come on now. Okay, there we go. We're going to do an opening ceremony that starts at, I was looking at the calendar. This is my event calendar. So that starts at 2 p.m. Pacific on Friday, which is 5 p.m. Eastern, and 9 p.m. UTC, so 10 o'clock in the night in the UK. We're going to have like a few hours of panels here, right? Most everything is happening on Saturday and Sunday, so the schedule may seem kind of wonky to people and kind of inconsistent, but the point of it was to try to get we figured we had to take into account the North American time zone because that's like the biggest audience, right? But we made sure that the other ones overlapped in such a way that they would either be really good for people in Europe or they would be really good for people in Asia and Australia. Right? So there should be something for everyone at some time that you can watch it. And of course, because there's multiple events going on at the same time, don't forget to check out people's channels and watch the VODs. We are going to try to collect as many of the VODs as we can and upload them to our YouTube channel. We are asking our streamers to share. If they are not inclined to share, then we cannot, of course, use them, but we are asking people if they would. I expect most people will. Right? So yeah, definitely go follow the Conduit channel so that you know when we go live. We're only actually streaming from that channel for the opening and closing ceremonies. Otherwise, we will be providing an event hub and hosting for the chill and chat streams, which we're kind of using as a reference point. There are somewhere between 20 and 30 channels that have decided to participate. There's something like 100 people who have agreed to be on panels. It's gonna be fucking amazing, guys. Don't miss it. But of course, there's other things coming up. July is almost upon us. World Anvil Summer Camp, of course, we all, most of us here know about anyway. We're definitely going to be doing that. And they're going to be doing this. Please excuse the fact that the video looks squished. I was limited on time, and I will fix it probably before tomorrow. But we have this coming up. Yay! I'm so excited, guys. It's going to be so much fun. Do not forget that your summer camp words do count for Attorney of Tales. We also are counting translation and editing. We will be doing like we did previously. There will be digital prizes for the top scorer in writing and editing categories. People are signing themselves up for the streaming schedule. Let me see if I can find that for you just a second, because we now have our own calendar, gang. We got it. We got it. Yes, more important to set up those channel points there. Shadow just made affiliate and will be streaming for Game of Thrones, or at least they will be applying to do so. I'm one of the people that have authority on that, so you have to approval, so that will be no problem. But here, if you are wanting to stream Game of Thrones, you can find us at GOT. Where is it here? Come on now. GOT.satrium.dev, I believe is the address. And I'm just typing it in the chat to make sure it's there. But Satrium was here, so I'm sure he'll correct me if I screw it up. So there we go. That is where you go to sign up and install the new automated points counting system on your channel. Right? How that works is that it will automatically install the channel point reward options for you and automatically disable them once the event is over. If you are a leader of a house, those will appear first. We are making them worth 1 point, 1 channel point, so that they appear first. Right? So if you come to my channel, you will be able to find House Lapin first, right in the list. Then the major houses, which this time does not include House Apis. They are on leave due to Danny has surgery coming up. But House Kitsune with Shy Red Fox has stepped in to fill the gap. So they are a major house for this event. Those ones will appear and they will be worth 2 points. So they will appear after whatever your house is. Right? This also includes the fact that as a leader of a minor house, you will also have your own option will appear, which will be worth 1 point and will appear first on your channel, just like everybody else. Then there is a single minor house reward that is for everyone. That will appear like all the other minor houses. Instead of reporting them under your major house that you're serving, if you're serving a minor house, you just report it under the minor house option. That will be worth 3 points. This is just so that it appears in a particular order. We had to make them worth something. You get 10 channel points just for showing up at a channel if you've never seen it before, so nobody will be excluded. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it works. We are also counting the points manually this time, for those of you who are unfamiliar, just to double check and make sure that our automated system is working properly. If it passes the test, which I have no doubt that it will, I actually think it'll probably end up with less errors than counting it manually, right? Then we will be running strictly manual or strictly automated, no manual counting at all for November. Right, so that is the plan. I imagine that the calendar is in here. I should probably make it appear on the first page, but here we go. For the time being, you click on Rules and Meta Information. You go here to the Game of Thrones event calendar article. And this is where the calendar appears. As you can see right now, there are no Game of Thrones events on the schedule for this week. But starting next week, I've already added my events to the calendar. Oh, I haven't yet. Okay, I did add my Kickstarter events too. Oh, except the one, I have to add that. Right, Siobhan has added some of her events. So make sure to add your events to the calendar. In order to do that, you will find the instruction under the link that Satrium shared in the chat, which is Streaming Game of Thrones. That is the article that has that information. Thank you very much to Darth Nicholas for putting that together for me, because God knows I have not had time. So I will go there and I will show you that rules and meta information. Where did it go? There it is. Streaming Game of Tones. I see I have to arrange the order of this, but that's fine. This is where all the instructions are, the chatbot setup, how to submit your words. There are some really handy, simple tutorial videos that were created by Darth Nicholas that will show you how everything is done. This video is current, the submitting words after your stream, so it does go over submitting manually and how it works with the automatic one. For the record, I believe, and correct me again if I'm wrong, Satrium, the big thing to remember is do not delete your channel points after you have reported them. Once you have, they will be collected periodically by the bot, and the bot will delete them for you. So do not delete them from your channel point rewards. If that does not happen, let Satrium know. He will fix it. Right, so yes, and I'm very, very excited about this. I think this is going to be great. It's going to save so much time. Like Dad said, so much easier. Satrium says, I think I have the most doubts here as I developed the automated system. Yep. And I don't trust the stuff I developed. It looked like it worked absolutely brilliantly in the tests. We've done lots of tests. It all seems to work. But yeah, if there's a problem, Satrium will fix it. Yep, I agree exactly what Dad said. The practice runs seemed to go just fine. We did some here. Kahuna did some. I think some other people did some. Looks great. Like Satrium said, if anyone runs into any issues with the automated system, feel free to contact me and I will help out. Satrium is on my server. That is where all the information about Game of Tones is now going on. You will find it in my Discord. There is a series of dedicated Game of Tones channels. They are under their own heading and they are near the bottom of the list of channels. So just scroll down there, right? Yeah. Oh, hello, Happy. Good to see you. Just in time to talk about one of my favorite subjects, right? Oh, and hello, Fur Wizard. Good to see you too. Fur Wizard says, was watching the videos just the other day. Everything looked very informative. Yeah, Darth did a great job. Like his tutorial videos are like, holy shit, I can follow this. This is excellent. So I'm very excited. Yeah, and Satrium is confirming, yes, do not delete your channel point rewards. That's just the house word count rewards, by the way. Don't worry about, your own stuff, fine, whatever. But the house channel point rewards for the Game of Tones, do not delete, right? Head to the website and press grab redeems instead. And we will show you how to do that because it's very simple. You go to, right, gameoftones.satrium.dev, like I put in the link. Right, I guess I have to log in with my Twitch again. That's fine. Now my stuff has stuff on here that, is not going to be on yours because I have some administrative access. But what you want is this button right in the, oh no, not that one. Grab redeems, the blue button, the nicely designed, pretty blue button right there. That's what you want. Grab redeems, right? Click on that. After every stream, it will grab the redeems for you. Right, and that's it, right? Once we, after this practice test, I guess we'll call it the alpha test, right? With the automated system while we are also counting, right? Then after that, that's all you do, right? This particular run in July, right? Count them first, submit them that way. Then go here and grab redeems. That way it doesn't delete them on you. Right? One of your favorite subjects? Is it me? Happy I associate you with Game of Tones in my head because that's when I got to know you and because you're one of my Ausla, right? So you show up and I'm thinking about Game of Tones and it works in my head. So, yeah. Right. So, yes. I am really, really excited about this, guys. I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. All right. Now, we're going to do a showcase. I'm going to put the music back on. We're actually going to start with Cayetan's article today. All right, this is for Cayetan's The Galaxy Universe. Glad to be of help. You're awesome, and you know, we had such fun together in Game of Tones, so I associate you with a very happy and fun time in my life, so that's what that's about. And I hope you're well. I'm sorry, I understand, like, I caught the whole thing about you're off work right now because you injured your damn back. That's always hard. Don't rush it, going back to work or doing things that you shouldn't be doing, because that can cause permanent damage you will have to live with, and we don't want that. So. Alright. Now that I can see out of my glasses, theoretically. You know, again, right? Happy says, yeah, sorry, I've not been around more, but life. Yeah, life. It's okay, right? This is Twitch. Twitch will still be here. I'll be here. You know, go live your life. It's, you know, it's really fine. Honestly. I miss your company when you're not around, but, you know, I think we've got a little community here. You know, I really feel like I'm friends with most of you, that I know stuff about the things that are important to you, what's going on in your life, and I feel like you know that about me. So, you know, I do miss you when you're not around, but, you know, there's other people out in the world, and they deserve your time too, right? So, okay. And, you know, there's always fucking work, right? Okay, Spaceman from the Galaxy Universe by Cayetan. We're going to put his link in the chat again so that people do not miss it. In theory, we're going to anyway. There we go. My OBS is slow to respawn today. I apologize. All right. Spaceman. Type, civic, military, generic. It's military rank, cool. Status, active, equates to private in ground forces. Reports directly to petty officer. Related organizations, Earth Colonial Navy. Off to a good start. Spaceman is the lowest rank in the Earth Colonial Navy. We have a link. Oh no, it's a tooltip. Cool. Earth Colonial Navy is the space branch versus military. Okay, no, it's actually an article. You've just got an excerpt. Fair enough. Personnel with this rank perform a broad range of tasks in the Navy. They serve in teams of 5 to 10 people under a petty officer. Those usually are engineering, security, or medical teams. Qualifications. There are no, you want the word are, not is. There are no special qualifications, because qualifications is plural. There's many of them, right? There are no special qualifications required to become a spaceman. However, it is recommended to continue education if one wants to, I would say, advance. Go is correct, but I would say advance higher in the ranks. While promotion to petty officer may be easy, as displaying organization and leadership skills is enough, higher promotion would require additional qualifications. That makes sense. Rowan points out to Happy that you can always go watch VODs later as well. Yeah, they're there, right? They're there for 2 weeks, and I do archive them to my YouTube channel, although I think I'm something like 2 months behind on that, because currently it's been publishing the Game of Tones videos, the Tourney of Tales videos from April. So, yeah. Sorry, I fell so behind in NaNoWriMo and the original Game of Tomes, and now I'm struggling to keep up with the publication schedule. But I am trying to set it up in advance so I publish 1 video a day, right? Eventually, I will catch up as a result of that, because I do not stream every day, right? Almost, but not quite. Cayetan says, this article is the beginning of a big rabbit hole of writing military ranks. Yep, those are a rabbit hole. I'm on Commander now for myself. I may work on that while we're here today. Natalia says, boyfriend just came down with a dress hanger with my costume for Conduit on it and looks at me like, are you serious? That's end of the sprint for those of you who are doing sprints. If you're working on something, let me know what you're working on today. I'd be happy to talk about it with you. That's really cool. But yeah, reminder, and I almost forgot, there is a cosplay contest going on, right? I will send a signed paperback to anybody anywhere in the world for the best cosplay costume. You can cosplay something nerdy, or you can cosplay one of your own characters from your own books, guys. Right? And I would love to hear about that. I might even do a separate prize for each category. Right? So we'll have to see. So, and yes, Natalia is serious. Dad says, ooh, badger hole is dangerous. They are likely to shred you if you're not careful. Yes, instead of a rabbit hole, badger hole. Oh, Daz is working on a conflict article. Happy says, I have my mojo back for writing. Yes! Awesome. I love it when that happens. Last NaNoWriMo was focused on proving to myself that I could write the 50,000 words and did over double that in the end. That's right, and that's why he's part of my Ausla. That's what I call the house-lapping people who are like the really, prolific writers. The Ausla being kind of your security, army, and police force against other Warrens and against dangers to the Warren, right? Yep. Now, though I lost that drive, as I proved I could. Yeah, now, though, I lost that drive as I proved I could. Yep. So I need a new goal. So before next NaNoWriMo, I want the draft finished for In the Shadow of God. And then at Nano, I will be doing a second draft edit of the book. That's awesome. Stretch is like, Commander Stretch cosplay? Yeah, why not? Why not? Absolutely. Go put your, security force for the Umbrella Corporation stuff on. All right. So back to Cayetan's article. Requirements. To enlist as a spaceman, one must at least be 18 years old, be a human. Why human? It is you, dummy. That's great. Yeah, exactly, Daz. If you're streaming during Conduit, you need a cosplay costume to compete, like even if you're on a panel. Yeah. We have to see you on video to know what your costume's like, don't we? Yeah. And why the hell not? Okay, so be a human, pass a physical exam, and a psychological evaluation. Gender plays no role in the enlisting project. That makes sense, Cayetan, but my brain also goes, why only human? Do only humans live on Earth? Do any alien species move to Earth and try to become citizens to make it their own home? Or are the species different enough to each other that Earth really isn't a suitable habitat for anybody but humans? I mean, that's entirely possible, right? Yeah, I get that. Cayetan says, spaceman is a rank in a human navy. Well, sure, Earth's navy started out as human, right? But do any alien species move there to become a citizen of the planet, right? Like, we know that happens. Canada is a nation of immigrants, right? Our birth rate never is up to our population and never has been. Most of our new people and our population growth comes from immigration, right? So people move here from, like, I don't know, Palestine or the United States or England or, Africa, Nigeria, Africa, I just said the whole continent, but, the nations are very different in Africa, so, or China, or, right now we're getting a lot of people leaving Hong Kong, right? If they can get here, right? So, what is, do people do that in your universe? Do people move from different planets and try to become citizens of other planets, right? It's worth considering. And if so, do they get to be part of their military, right? I mean, that's a thing that is often that's to get back to work. Growl from the Dragon of Productivity. If you were doing sprints, he is demanding sacrifices of production. So, right. but yeah, like, people will immigrate to another country, and sometimes they are barred from entering the military because people don't trust them or whatever, right? That doesn't happen in Canada. If you are a Canadian citizen, we're more than happy to have you in the military. We don't care where you came from, right? So, but other countries, that's not necessarily the case, right? In some places, it doesn't matter whether or not you move from the country. Like, China considers anybody who comes from Chinese people to be Chinese and therefore subject to their draft and shit, right? Which just bothers my Canadian sensibilities to the core, but, different cultures do it differently, is my point. Right? Cayetan says, it is separate from the Navy of the Interspecies Alliance. Okay. Yep. Probably there are aliens on Earth, but they are there as Federation citizens, not Earth citizens. Okay, so you cannot move to another planet within the Federation and become a citizen of that planet. All right. That's going to have some implications, and think about that when you detail your politics. But that's cool. You could go either way. Either one would have political ramifications, right? Let's see, Cayetan says Federation citizens like an EU citizen, citizens of every member state of the Federation. Okay, that makes sense. But then, but then, what about people like Worf, right? Is there a place for them? Worf was raised primarily by humans and, joined Starfleet, right? So, yeah, Federation like EU in space. I love the idea of the EU, by the way. I think that is the wave of the future and a very forward-thinking way of doing things. I think that, to me, Brexit represents sort of a nationalist regression. And oh, hello, Dillian. Good to see you. How are you this evening? It's something that we're okay. There's a thing. Dual citizenship, is that a thing in space? Says Daz. Okay, so it's a thing that there's a bunch of Commonwealth countries like Canada, the United States, Canada, Britain, New Zealand, whatever, right, are talking about the idea of forming something similar to the EU, right? And on one hand, but this is a sketchy issue, right? Because on one hand, a bunch of the people who are proponents of it are right-wing types who are all like, yeah, raw, the mother empire, and there's a racist nationalist element to that, and that's disgusting and icky. But on the other hand, there's a good argument for it culturally, because culturally we have a lot in common, right? Jamie keeps telling me how he went to New Zealand, he vacationed there for like a month or two. I think it was 20 years ago now or something, but basically it was just like being at home, except everybody had a funny accent, right? Like, we get each other. So there's cultural reasons for that. I think India might have been part of the group we were talking about too. I don't know, right? But there's arguments for that, because what the EU is doing is a great idea, right? And then it would be things like, limit trade tariffs between each other and, shit like that. Hello, Darth. Good to see you. The Closet Forge is here. Really a pleasure to see you. I hope you're well. Cayetan says, such issues would probably be resolved by court. And then said to Daz in regards to the dual citizenship thing, interesting concept. Happy is very unhappy about Brexit. Yeah, I hear you. Hello, Guacamole Bill? Guacamole build. Okay, I think. You've been here before, haven't you? But it's been a while. No, you have not been here before. Good to meet you. Welcome to the channel. Yeah, Australia. Exactly, right? It was once a British Commonwealth, but they were treated very differently from a historical perspective. India, I mean, yeah. Yeah, that is exactly it, right? Like, let's be honest, right? Some countries were treated better than others in the British Commonwealth. And mostly that had to do with what color of skin your citizens had, right? Like, let's just not sugarcoat that. That's the way it is, right? And it's shitty. And I am, not a proponent of colonization. But I think that if India were included in this group, that would be a good way to break down some of those barriers. So, Writers Conduit Discord is where I saw your links, so I came to check things out. Cool, you're coming to Conduit this weekend. That's excellent. Are you on the panel, on one of the panels under another name, and I'm not aware? Oh, good night, Natalia. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for sharing your book and your awesome trailer. It was beautiful, and I'm looking forward to it for sure. You have a great night. Yeah. Let's see what I missed here. Oh, I missed something from Delian. I'm great. Just got back from the first village midsummer gathering. Nice! Finally got to see who lives in the village that I've been living in for like 12 years. That's awesome. That's awesome. Like I said, that's on my bucket list. And I just might stop by Copenhagen and pick your ass up so you can show me around and help me navigate. Because that'd be fun. I don't know when I'm going to have the money to travel Europe. That is a thing that, basically, get someone to buy the movie rights, guys, and I'll go. Because, that's what's going to take for me to do that. But I'd love to. Darth says, doing good so far. Attempting to get my brain awake and rolling into some words. Excellent! Getting prepped for summer camp. Excellent! And for turning of tails, which is great. Hello, Eli. Nobody panic. I'm here, says Eli. Okay, we're not panicking. We're good. Good to see you. That's awesome. Guacamole says, I started writing somewhat seriously in March and met the Living Ted recently. Nice. That's a good, he's very helpful. He does lots of really cool stuff and gives some excellent advice for writers. So you definitely, that's a great way to enter into the broader world of the Twitch writing community, and if we can help encourage you to succeed, that's what we're here for. Natalia Books, Purple Heart Natalia Books, was just sharing her latest book trailer for her latest novella called Nova Babylon, which looks absolutely kick-ass, and I'm very excited for her. She's doing some paperbacks with it, It's awesome. This is really cool. So Eli says, I just made a request for an appointment for an assessment for autism. Excellent. I also need a new assessment for ADHD, but hey, baby steps. Yeah, for sure. Congratulations. I'm glad you made the appointment. If I could get somebody to take me fucking seriously, so would I. I've tried a couple of times to try to broach this subject, and they're like, but you look fine. Okay, no, you haven't seen my personal life, all right? All right, so anyway. And yeah, which is a whole, that gets into the whole thinking about neurodiversity. But we're going to have a panel. It's going to be called Own Voices and Neurodiversity in Fiction. I am going to be hosting that panel here on this channel, and one of the reasons why I am hosting it is because that way it's totally own voices. I am also neurodiverse, and I cannot wait to talk about this subject. It's going to be cool. It's going to be cool. Okay. We're going to continue with Cayetan's article, and because the chat has been very active, I am going to reshare the link. For Guacamole and anyone else who may not be familiar, this is a World Anvil article. Yeah, high-passing autism is a thing, people. Yeah, just because my coping mechanisms have been developed that are good, right, doesn't mean that I'm not having trouble and couldn't use some help. All right. But yeah, that's the article we're currently looking at. It's, extended world building in Cayetan's The Galaxy universe. And we are discussing the military rank spaceman, which is kind of like your basic recruit rank to get into the Earth Colonial Navy in his universe. So, Okay, so I'll reread the requirements just because this has been a while and I think I only read one paragraph of it. So, to enlist as a spaceman, one must be at least 18 years old, be a human, pass a physical exam and a psychological evaluation. Gender plays no role in the enlisting process. Candidates have to go to their local recruitment office and register for a physical. You don't need the word there, delete that. Right? Register for physical and psychological tests. They are usually contacted by the Navy after a few days and receive the dates for the tests. Appointment. After being accepted into the ranks, new recruits go to a training center for the time of about a month. For a period of about a month is typically how we would say it in, native English-speaking areas. There's nothing technically wrong with for the time of about a month. However, it just rings odd to people who used English as their first language. So, but there's nothing technically wrong with it. It's technically fine. That's the meaning. After the training, they're sworn in as a spaceman of the ECN. I, insert full name, do swear I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the United Republic of Earth and its colonies, and protect the honor of a soldier of the Earth Colonial Navy. Nice. Some soldiers add, so help me God, at the end of the oath, but it isn't mandatory. That's a nice oath. I find myself wondering, whose orders do they swear to obey? There has to be. Let me help with this because I'm not sure I'm explaining what I mean. But okay, so oath of the United States Marines, I guess we'll say. Start with that. I state your name, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers. So the oath needs to designate who they take commands from. That's important, right? Important to note that I obey the President of the United States as the highest authority, right? But the Constitution is given authority over that because that's what they're defending, supporting and defending the Constitution of the United States. So in a way, the Constitution takes on kind of a persona that they, acknowledge and swear to, rather than a king, which would be more typical, right? Oath of the, spell Diane, Oath of the Canadian Armed Forces. Let's have a look at that. Yes, I, full name, do swear or solemnly affirm. Swear is for religion, by the way, traditionally, and solemnly affirm is for non-religious, right? That I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of Canada, her heirs and successors, according to law, so help me God. So it's important to acknowledge whose orders you obey, right? The Queen of Canada, who happens to be the same person as the Queen of England right now, but her rulership over England has not a goddamn thing to do with us, right? She's the Queen of Canada, that's why she's the Commander-in-Chief, and we follow her orders, and her enemies are the ones that we fight, right? Not the Prime Minister, not the Parliament, the Queen, right? Excuse me. So in Canada, there are people who are appointed to represent the will of the Queen, and usually it's them that are answered to, like the Governor General, who is her representative in our federal politics, and the lieutenant governors. I think that's the word I'm looking for. I should be able to remember this, but they're the ones who represent her will provincially, which are separate because it's kind of a federalist system, right? We're a conglomerate of provinces who answer to a central authority, but the central authority does not run all the provinces. It's complex. Anyway, I think I've over-explained the point, but I thought perhaps the context would help, right? So, Okay, let's see here. What did I miss in the chat? Oh, hey, Tenacity. Good to see you. How are you today? Kayetan says, I know, the Galaxy is a very original name. That's the end of the sprint for those of you who are sprinting. Stretch says, had to take my mic stand down, almost sheared right through where the stem goes into the desk clamp. Oh no! I didn't want my mic falling and breaking. Yeah, no doubt. And worse yet if that happens on stream. Tenacity says, been a while since I've been on Twitch. I have the flu. That sucks, Tenacity. I'm glad to see you back. I have been missing you, and I was wondering what had happened. Right? I notice when you guys are gone, but I don't ask about it because maybe it's none of my business, you know? Or maybe you've had something sad happen in your life and you don't want to talk about it right now, right? So I figure you'll tell me if you want me to know. And otherwise, know that I've noticed that you're gone and I'm glad you're back, right? I already have to wipe my glasses again. All right. Kayetan says, I based the oath off the UK one. All right, let's have a look at the UK one. Oath of the Royal... I don't know. Let's see. Royal Marines, I guess. See, and again, we're talking about, you know, defending Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth II. Her heirs and successors, right? So yeah, so it is important to mention who they're taking orders from, who is the ultimate person in charge, right? Maybe it's the elected Prime Minister of the United Republic of Earth. You know, I don't know how your system of government works, but Tenacity says, guys, I wrote 2 chapters by hand yesterday because I haven't set up my new computer yet. Holy crap, good for you. I used to do all of my writing by hand as a kid, but I gave that up when I learned how to touch type. So I admire you. Good job. Although sometimes if I don't have access to an electronic device, I will take out my notebook and either write from roughly where I think I left off or make notes, right? Or write an entire short story. Oh, there's a link for me. Okay, I'll look at it. I thought that state itself would be enough. No, I don't believe that the state itself is enough, Kayetan, because, okay, because a military has a chain of command, right? Okay, and the reason why it does is because it's very difficult to get people to do things at the same time, and the more people you involve, the more difficult it is to do at the same time. So ultimately, they have to know who is the final authority. Like, what happens... Okay, I don't know how your government works, but let's do a theoretical. Say you have... Oh, please ask me to come back if I haven't informed you in advance, says James, in response to wish. Okay, refresh. We'll refresh. Maybe I'm talking out my ass now. It's like the Canadian one. Says Kayetan, the Canadian oath. That's cool. I replaced Queen with State. That's it. That's what I'm after. Thank you. That's perfect. I insert full name. Do swear I will be faithful and bear true allegiance. Oh, and you've got an extra L in faithful. So, typo. And bear true allegiance to the United Republic of Earth and its colonies, and protect the honor of a soldier of the Earth Colonial Navy. I swear to obey the orders of the President and the Admirals of the Earth Space Command. Yes, and that's nicely done, because that says that ultimately we answer to the civilian authority. The President is the Commander-in-Chief and gives the orders. The Admirals answer to the Commander-in-Chief. So it establishes an order of precedence and whose orders to obey if there's ever a confusion, right? Like, there is a story, I forget which country it was in. It might have been Malaysia. Chris would know, don't quote me, because my brain, but Jamie tells me about there was a revolution, right? And the army decided that they were taking over, and they went and marched on the capital, and then the governor general gave the order that no, they were to return to their bunks, and they did, because their authority is ultimately given from the governor general, right? So Stretch says, does anyone know what one difference the British Army has over the other British forces in their oath? I do not, Stretch. I have not done that much detailed research. Please tell me. I am interested. That's to get back to work, Dragon. Demanding more sacrifice and productivity. Dad says, I'm old school. I do my best thinking on paper. Sometimes I have to write or draw things out by hand, too. Tenacity says, I'm writing a series of short stories which I intend to turn into a novel, but by breaking it down into short stories, I'm finding it easier to write pantsing style, as that's my natural writing style, so it's a nice break from my planning heavy fantasy series. Makes sense. It also makes it so I can write by hand, which I can type up and edit at the same time. That's a lot of people do that for the editing process, because if you change the medium that your work is written in to another medium, it can make it easier to catch mistakes. One thing people often do is read their stuff aloud to themselves or print it out on paper if they've been working on it on a screen. Transferring it from handwriting to typing is another thing that people do, right? I find that even switching it from reading it on a desktop to reading it on a phone can make a difference. So, Stretch says, and I promise not to eat the crayon. That is hilarious. Okay, so tell us, what's the difference? Is that the difference? I promise not to eat the crayon? Oh, okay, it's a joke. I'm sorry. Whoosh. That's hilarious. I'm sure the Army's brighter than that, though. Daz says, Tenacity, there's a resurgence of the serial type of writing. Where you write a series of stories as episodes to big long-running series. That is what I'm doing with the Weird West Chronicles, and then I'm compiling them into complete story arcs when I'm done and creating a book. That's what Once Upon a Time in the Weird West is over there. It's the first 6 stories. There were serial stories written in the Weird West Chronicles, but they made a consistent story arc between them. Posture check, save check, hydrate. Thank you, Barbarossa. Okay. Let's talk more right. But I'm doing a showcase! Okay, we're gonna finish the showcase. Cayetan, excellent correction. That does resolve the issue of who is ultimately in command and how does the chain of command work. Good work. Some soldiers add "so help me God" at the end of the oath, but it isn't mandatory. Yeah, right? If you're religious, then you can add that. If you're not, then you don't. What about praise be to Allah, right? Or because I assume this is the future of our earth, right? So there will be different religions. I mean, did sort of Christian colonialism take over? Or are there still Muslims, right? Are there still Buddhists? How do they navigate the oath, right? All right, see you later, Satrium. Thank you very much for being around and for, again, setting up the automated reporting system for Tourney of Tales. I'll see you later. Yeah. Duties. It is expected from every spaceman, as well as other ranks, to serve the ECN and the United Republic faithfully and with all heart. Awesome. Every member of the Navy has to maintain the honor of the organization. Absolutely. And like Dad said, there could even be new religions that might be really big. Who knows? Responsibilities. A spaceman's responsibilities vary depending on their assignment. What is similar about most of them is that they aren't generally very complex and specialized. Spacemen serve also in a ship's kitchen or operate the guns. Or equivalent. Good enough. Yeah, good enough because Christianity in various forms, particularly Catholicism, but Christianity in most of its forms is the dominant religion on this planet right now. So, yeah. Yeah, spacemen serve also in a ship's kitchen or operate the guns. Operating the guns, I'd say, is a much bigger responsibility than serving in the kitchen. Not that every soldier isn't equally, well, sailor in this case, isn't equally important. Of course they are. But, that's a thing that strikes me as a little off after aren't very generally complex and specialized. I would say something like spacemen may serve in a ship's kitchen, or may be entrusted with the operation of the guns, something like that. All right. Good work, Cayetan, as always. I love your stuff, particularly your science fiction stuff. But I love all your stuff. It's just that I like your particular brand of science fiction and it appeals to me, right? I also really love your Georgian, like your gaslight fantasy stuff. So, okay, but I love your stuff. So awesome, and sorry it took so long to get through the showcase. That's unfortunately not unusual because I start breaking things down or start talking about stuff. I am going to take a momentary bio break because we are at 20 after 2 by my clock. When I get back, I'm actually going to do some writing for a bit. I'm going to do that Less Talk, More Write that Barbarossa redeemed. And then I'll do Adelaide's showcase. Yeah, just to catch up quickly. Let's see here. What did I miss? Tenacity says to Daz, that's sort of my idea. I just want 2 types of projects, so when my brain isn't working for one, it works for the other. That's what I do. That's how shit gets written in my world. Absolutely. Stretch says, okay, said that was it. Right? It's an old forces banter. Yeah. Different branches of the forces always have a rivalry. Yeah. James says, I know. I think it's our subs. If they tune in Radio 4, if they don't hear it, it means the UK has fallen, or at least wherever Radio 4 is based. They have an order in a safe, like go to an allied force and swear themselves over, or even send a missile back. Yeah, most NATO forces do have some provision like that. And mostly that's a relic of the Cold War. Because, let's face it, guys, they start throwing nukes at each other, we're all fucked, right? So. Alright, Tenacity says to James, my father works for the MOD. If one of our subs can't get any communication with the mainland, they're to launch all nukes at Russia. Because if they can't get any communication, it means we've been fully destroyed, because there's many fail-safes. Yep, that's legit. People aren't really supposed to know that, so shh. Of course people know that. We know what the deal is. Oh, Cayetan says, operating guns in my universe is computer work. Still requires the nerves to actually make the decision to kill somebody. Or possibly start a war if you misfire a gun at the wrong time. But, I get you. Petty officer can be specialized in the guns and spacemen are under them. Fair enough, so they might serve as general gun crews with the petty officer supervising and being in charge of the gun crew. That makes sense. Yeah, Cayetan says I have about 10 worlds of World Anvil. No wonder I can't keep up. It's more than I got. And Moon has unlurked, so welcome back. And I saw James unlurk, so welcome back too. Okay, it's break time, gang, and when I get back, writing sprint. I'll see you in a minute. And we're back. Sorry for the extended break. I really needed to open my door for a bit to cool things off in here. And hello! Welcome. Let's see, I want to get your name right, so I want to look at it when I'm saying it. Gomatarka, is that correct? If not, please correct me. And also, if you want to advise me as to your pronouns, I'll remember them, and we'll use that. Welcome, and you have come to the right place. If you are looking for a place where people can encourage you when you are, you know, getting some writing going and you're not sure about it, you're not happy about it, right? This is the place for that, because that's kind of what we do here, right? We encourage each other in our various writing endeavors. We try to support one another. I can tell you that the people in the chat, the community, are absolutely right. I think everybody reads over their writing, especially when they're first starting out, and they go, this is shit. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself, right? Because, okay, writing is a craft, right? So there's a little bit of talent involved, but there's a lot more skill. Skill is something that can be practiced and learned. There are techniques to writing prose that make it good, right? So, and you can learn those, and they come with time. So don't be shooting yourself in the foot because it's not coming out the way you originally envisioned it. That's what editing's for. Editing is an important part of the process. I tell people that the key is, do you have a good story, right? Is it a story that interests people? Does it engage you? That's the key. That's the job. Everything else is window dressing, right? So, you know, welcome to the community of writers, and there are lots of other writing streams. Here's a place where you can find some of them. This is... Somehow I clicked on the wrong thing there. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what the hell. My OBS is being difficult with me today. Okay, so this calendar here is for the Anvilite Streamer Corps. They're a group of fan streamers who use and share World Anvil content. World Anvil, if you're not familiar, is a world-building software utility. It was designed for a writer, but it's also used by game designers, game developers, and just people who like to create ideas and worlds of imagination without necessarily creating stories, which is totally valid, right? It's also been used by people doing things like their archaeology thesis, because it has built-in templates that enable you to talk about things like specific items or locations or geography. What you're looking at here on the screen currently is their manuscripts writing software, which I use, and I switched to it from Word as soon as it became operational, because to me this utility is like the best of Microsoft Word, Google Docs, and Scrivener all put together into one, right? So yeah, that's what I'm writing my books on. But everybody on that calendar, the Anvilite Streamer Corps calendar, is a world builder of some kind. Probably about 75% of them are writers in particular. So, yeah, exactly. Like Tenacity says here, that's the process we all go through. This is the right place to be. We all help each other out. That's exactly it. Element Eds, aka Tal, is a professional editor and a writer like the rest of us. And I'm sure that it cannot be, whatever it is, it cannot be as bad as some of the stuff that she has edited. So I'm sure she'll be happy to tell you that manuscripts in their first draft never look good. They're always garbage. They're made pretty later. I like to liken it like you dig the ore, the shiny gem ore out of the ground, right? And that's your first draft. And then from there, you have to cut off the stuff that isn't the diamond, and then you have to polish it, and you have to cut it in facets to make it beautiful. That's editing, right? So sometimes editing can be painful, but it is done to make your gems shine, right? So it's totally worth it. All right. Now let's see. There was a good line in here from Tenacity. Tenacity was sharing their beginning line of their story, and I really liked it, and I want to share it with you. Oh, and hello, Siobhan. I saw you sneak in, and I think Rowan was gone and then back, so welcome back. Rowan talking about her current writing project that she is working on, which she is co-writing with a friend. Bonus might have found a way to waylay Pensig 199 AD main characters. That's what it's called, Pensig 199 AD. That's their working title anyway, right? Main character's romantic rivals, so it never becomes an issue, and the main character will not wind up having to feed her hemlock or push her down the stairs. Nice! Notice that, don't mind the coughing in the background. That is the dulcet tones of the mating call of the Canadian stoner. That is my husband coughing, and he's fine. Yeah, lots of people will be happy to help you read your works in progress. I see that Tenacity has already made the offer. That's great. As Siobhan points out, Siobhan is a bit of a perfectionist. The fact that she is persisting is really admirable. And she says, I trashed a manuscript 12 times before I left it alone and came back later. That's always a good thing to do too. Generally when you finish writing something, you're like, this is crap. I'm exhausted. Fuck it. Then you can give it a couple months and come back. And chances are you'll be like, oh, hey, actually this is pretty good. You know? So patience with yourself. It comes in time. It comes in time. And I'm still missing Tenacity's lines. There it is. I like this. This is Tenacity's first line. Yeah. When the bombs dropped, the government didn't even have time to play their pre-prepared emergency broadcasts. It just happened. Over quicker than my first fuck. That is an amazing opening line. Right? Tenacity was like laughing my ass off. I don't know why I thought that's a good opening line, but I'm sticking with it for now. Let me tell you why this is an amazing opening line, okay? Because we can break this down. First of all, bam, you're establishing the conflict. When the bombs dropped, oh, the bombs have dropped. Fuck, okay, now we know what the conflict is. We're probably dealing with either a war or post-apocalyptic scenario. Yeah, and you've established that in 4 words. 4 words, right off. Genius. I wish I could write opening lines like this. I always have to rework my openings. This is fantastic. Okay, second, the government didn't even have time to play their pre-prepared emergency broadcasts. It just happened. Nope. So happened so quickly. Everything dropped in the lap. There was no chance to prepare shit. So we know that the stakes are really high. Now we're invested, right? We care a little bit. We're like, oh, that's some pretty high stakes. I want to see what happens. You know, how did they manage to deal with that? So now you've created a question in the reader's head. And that question will get them reading to find out the answers. If you're doing the writing right, you're leading the reader along like a breadcrumb trail in the forest, right? Because you're going, okay, I'm going to throw out a question for them to think about. And then I'm going to throw out another question before I answer the first question, but then I'll maybe answer the first question, and now they want to know the answer to the second question. You keep doing that, and someone will not be able to put the damn book down. Awesome. Right? And then it just happened. Over quicker than my first fuck. Now you've established character, right? This person is blunt. They call things like they are. Right? They have a self-deprecating sense of humor, right? And you've established these important details about the character in a very short sentence. Instantly, I have an idea who this person is. I find myself wondering if this person is a soldier. There's certainly a survivalist, right? And they have a bit of a cynical and self-deprecating sense of humor. They're probably going to continue to be sarcastic quite a lot. And I find that interesting, and I think that's a cool character. Now I want to know what happens to this person. So this is brilliant. This is like a class in how to do good first lines. So yes, stick with it. Please don't ever change that. I think it's brilliant. Okay. Now we've broken that down. And Cayutan is sharing World Anvil. Yeah, I've seen it used for D&D. D&D people use it a lot. I do use it for our own Pathfinder First Edition campaign, which we run here on Sunday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. UTC, so 2 a.m. in the UK. Oh, good, we have our third showcase, so I'll put that up and get it ready to go. And I don't need my About page anymore, so I should delete that and take it off. Okay, and go back to my writing. Let's catch up with the chat. I'm going to write in the next sprint. Well, edit more accurately, and then we will do MLA Showcase. I'm really a big newbie. That's okay, Gomatarka. Everyone starts somewhere. And, you know, just keep at it and you'll do it. It's okay. Shout out. Tenacity says, just wanted to shout out my YouTube channel again, as I have some incredible video projects coming up soon. That's brilliant. All right, so make sure you check out the link, guys. I'm going to put the link up on my other computer. Or do you want me to show it? Do you have anything I can't show? YouTube and my streams sometimes don't get along. Gomatarka asks, what exactly do editors do? I'm going to refrain from answering this until I finish looking at the chat to make sure that Tal has not beaten me to it. Tal says, oh my, some of the stuff I've seen. Exactly, in response to, you know, it's really okay if it's not perfect the first time, right? Because Tal does professional editing, right? There's always a story in there, though. You just have to uncover it. There's hope everywhere. Exactly. Exactly right. Oh, yes. And the writing convention that we are having this weekend. Why is the conduit command not working? I will try it again just to make sure. Yes, we're having a writing convention this weekend. It is happening on 20 or so different channels on Twitch. That is where you find all the information there. Some of the events will be streamed on this channel. So, I'll be on panels that won't be streamed on this channel. It starts Friday. 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. UTC, so 10 o'clock p.m. in the UK. And it'll run for a good part of the weekend, most of it. Tenacity says, editing is, in my process for me, is more like the actual writing. The best version of it. Yeah, exactly. Some people start with what's basically a skeleton outline and then flesh it out in the editing. Right? There's so many different ways to process it. It doesn't have to look perfect the minute you put it on paper. Eli has returned with cheese and rice cakes. Excellent. Welcome back. Rowan is working on an evil plan. That's excellent. I figured Tal would answer. Tal says, in response to, what do editors do? By the way, there's a panel on that at the Writer's Conduit. Editors, what they do and how to find them. And Tal will be on that panel. So definitely come make it if you want to know more. What time is that at? I will tell you. Is that it? Yes. That is starting on Saturday, June 26th at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. UTC, or 10 p.m. in the UK. Right? So definitely come check it out and you'll learn more. But in a nutshell, it depends on the editor, says Tal. Developmental editors can help bring that story out. Developmental editors are like, they help you with your story structure so that there's a consistent narrative that your reader can follow and that it will keep them engaged, right? Line or copy editors clean it up, spelling, punctuation, consistency, etc. For instance, if you capitalize something once, you should keep capitalizing it, right? provided that you capitalized it correctly in the first place. There's a panel conduit. See? Tells ahead of me. There's a panel conduit about editors, what they do, and how to find them that can help everyone who is interested in what editors do. So now you know. Yeah, Daz says, writing is the thrill of spilling out the story and then spending 10 times as long going over it and fixing it. That's pretty much my process. Does it really take more time than writing it? Often. For me, certainly. Other people, not so much, right? It really depends. I took James Patterson's master class on writing, and he spends more time on the outline, plotting out all the major events that are going to happen, than he does on writing the manuscript. But, yeah, so that's how he does it, right? I'm like the exact reverse. I kind of word vomit the story onto the paper, and then I spend a bunch of time cleaning it up, double checking my phrasing, making sure it makes sense, and changing aspects of the story that need development. And then I hand it over to some alpha readers in my house, and they tell me what they think is wrong with it, and I deal with that. And then I hand it over to an editor who fixes it up for me. So, good night, Cayutan. Always a pleasure. I'll see you tomorrow. James says, question. I know famous Canadians, or I know famously, Canadians don't necessarily get on with Americans. Would someone from St. John's, Newfoundland get on with someone from New York? Okay, that's not really true. Actually, Canadians and Americans tend to get along pretty well, right? Because we do have a lot in common culturally. There's a famous quote, don't remember who said it, but they said it that Canadians and Americans have arrived at similar places in their cultures by entirely different processes. The big thing that tends to happen between Canadians and Americans is that because we look and sound and act so similar in many ways, that we make the assumption that the other person is operating on the same set of beliefs and principles that we are. And that's not true. We have very different cultural perspectives and reasons for why we do the things we do. And sometimes they're in conflict, right? And that's the dragon of or the end of the sprint for those of you who are doing writing sprints. I'm going to chat through this chat break and then I'm going to write. So we tend to get along very well. I have a lot of American friends and I love them. They're amazing, right? Would someone from St. John's, Newfoundland get along with someone from New York? Yes. There would be some culture shock, right? St. John's, Newfoundland is, okay, it's a city. It's a big city. It's nowhere near New York, right? So there would be a little bit of the big city, small town dynamic going on between them. And yes, I have seen St. John's, Newfoundland. I have been there. Oh, wait, no, I have not been to Newfoundland. Pardon me. No, I have not been to St. John's, Newfoundland. I was in St. John, New Brunswick. And yeah, there's two with very similar names. It's confusing, but yeah, so there'd be that small town, big city kind of dynamic, right? St. John's, Newfoundland is a nautical community. Its whole culture is based on sailing and fishing and having a relationship with the sea. It was a major British port when we were still a British colony, and and a French port before that, right? So there's a degree of French-English multiculturalism there. Also, Newfoundlanders tend to have a reputation as kind of being, much more like, things happen in their own time. We're not going to rush. We're going to relax. And they tend to be very community oriented. It's a cultural imperative to look after each other in the community. They view each other as like a group. When people come to Newfoundland or come back to Newfoundland when they've been gone, right? They say that people come from away, right? So that kind of gives you an idea about they're a bit insular, right? I mean, not in a bad way. Hospitality is also a big cultural thing, but certainly there's we have our community, we look out for each other. And of course, New York famously, except in individual communities, and I want to clarify this, right? New York, from what I know, and I know of quite a few people who live in New York, right? There's no community feeling of New York, right? New York, it's like, get out of my way, Jack, I'm walking here, right? But in individual neighborhoods within New York, there's a very strong sense of community. Each neighborhood's basically a village, right? So, yeah, I think they definitely would get along, but there would be some, cultural misperceptions or perhaps cultural clashes, and you could use that to make the relationship interesting. Would they be friends? Yeah, absolutely. I can't see why not. Yeah. In response to, does it really take like much more time to fix it than it does to write it? Daz says it does, but it takes less and less time as your mind gets more and more accustomed to editing what you wrote, and that's a fact. Moon is having a serious debate with himself about listening versus working. I'm sorry. Tenacity says, "Thank you for your kind words, Sable." No, it's not okay. I'm glad you think it's kind. I do indeed mean it as a compliment, but it's also a good object lesson for how to do good first lines, and that benefits the whole community. So thank you for providing that opportunity for me to talk about something important in writing. Your first lines are your most important lines, right? You will either hook or lose the reader in those lines, so you have to make them good. So. Yep. Daz says, as long as you persist in it, you will get faster and faster in the polishing, but no one has an awesome first draft. First drafts are garbage. They're all garbage. They're hot garbage, usually. They're terrible. Don't stress about it. Yep, Siobhan is working on the pre-edits of her first complete manuscript, which is amazing. Eli agrees that's a good first line. Yes, it is. Siobhan says, and then I get to send it to a first editor, take care of those edits, then I send it to my polishing editor. Yes, and she's chosen me to be her polishing editor, and I can be harsh but fair. Let's get back to work now. I'll answer one more question before we do that. Barbarossa asks, any advice for making calendars that don't feel like it's Earth but new flavored? Do not base your system on Earth divisions of time. Like you could do a different length a week, for example, right? Don't use names that mean Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Don't liken them to, the Norse gods that those are loosely based on, right? And, you might use alternative ways of naming the months. That's something I tried. As you can see here, right, my calendars, I've got 2 calendars that are running. This is the same date in both calendars. Cold Moon, 5046 Avalonian calendar. That is the Elven form of dating, and then the Orcish form of dating, 8th month, year 354 from the founding. Right? That's another thing. Choose different things as the beginning of your eras. Right? The elves choose the founding of Avalon, and the orcs choose the founding of their homeworld. So. Okay. Yeah, change the number of months, the number of days in a week. Do not, What is the website that I write on, by the way? That is World Anvils. Okay, so I was about to show you the ad. I must not have been clicked on the box. Okay, so worldanvil.com. That's the site that I write on. This is their manuscripts. You have to have a guild membership of Master Plus to use it. I love it. You can also publish directly to the site through this. Let me show you. This is what this manuscript looks like, or would if it were published, provided that it showed. No, okay, so it doesn't show that one. So I'll have to show, because it's not published yet. But I did publish the first couple of chapters to the public in this one, which is A Few Good Elves, which is the novel that I am currently Kickstartering, which I will put the link for the Kickstarter in again. If it ever lets me type in this goddamn box. It seems like I have to click on the chat box twice before it'll acknowledge that it exists. But yeah, okay, so this is the current setup for A Few Good Elves. I published the first couple of chapters to the public in World Anvil to try to, here's your tasty taste, right? See if you like it. There's my blurb. And then this is how you would read it. You'll notice that most of the chapters are locked. That's because they're being published to my patrons who get advanced views before the book is actually published. I'm looking to publish it in September, and that's why I'm running a Kickstarter for it right now. Yeah. If all goes well, it will appear in hardcover, paperback, and ebook September 6th, or 7th, September 7th. So yeah. But if you want, and you're just looking to get people to read your book, go ahead and just publish it to the site. And the community, which is the World Anvil community, which is one of the nicest places on the internet with some of the coolest people you will ever meet, and I mean that sincerely, like I continue to be astounded at how nice and supportive the World Anvil community is, and you can get other people to read it and offer their opinion. Or you can share chapters here in my showcase options. You can't do that today because we've used 3, but you can share them here and we can give you feedback as we go. And we can do like I was doing when we showed up, going through Cayetan's article, giving him, advice about what I think he should flesh out more or what needs more information, right? And, picking up typos and things, correcting grammar. All right. I have talked way long enough. It's time for me to do some editing. Where are we at? Okay, I'm going to have to edit 3 minutes into the chat to do my 15 minutes of less talk, more write. Oh yeah, that was something I wanted to... Tenacity said earlier, my father isn't allowed to travel to China because he's a target for kidnapping. He works on the safety systems for the new Dreadnought submarines in the UK. I have heard nothing about Dreadnought submarines. I would like to know more. Because I think that's an interesting idea. Also, Moon, you've gone too far. 39 worlds is too many. And Cayetan points out, remember that in space, if you miss, the projectile would fly further until it hits something. Yup. Because there's no friction drag of air to slow it down. Eli has 4 worlds and should probably keep it that way till completed. Yep. I don't know about that almost starting a war with the UK and the United States there, James. I think so, and I think it had something to do with what was going on in the Falkland Islands. I could be wrong. Okay. Already edited most of this. That's the sprint. For those of you working, let me know how you did. I'm going to take a moment to try to catch up on the chat. I'm going to do a few more minutes of writing before starting into the showcase. I still owe 3 minutes. Alright. Tenacity asked if anybody has anything out that they could buy to support us. That's really nice. And I'm glad to see you back, Amelie. You're in time for your showcase. Alright. And then we talked about heat. Bad at keeping your bedtime, says Amelie. Me too, and part of the reason why is that it's so fucking hot in here that I can't sleep until at least 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, so that's when I start to relax. Good advice from Tenacity. Stick your pillow in the freezer before bed. Thank me later. I put my entire set of bedding in the freezer this time of year and then pull it out when it's time to go to bed. And in the meantime, Tal is over here considering getting a blanket. Well, being as it's fucking midsummer here, it's midwinter there. Happy midwinter to you, by the way, there, Tal. And so it's probably goddamn cold. Rainy, at least, I'm sure. Tenacity says, I have a bit of flu left over, so I've been waking up super early, unable to breathe. That does suck. Right? I've been getting loads done, so maybe there's something to be said. Well, there's that. 30 degrees Celsius where Eli is, which isn't as bad as it has been. Still toasty. Yeah. I believe I answered everything after that for a bit. Yeah, Kayatan was confirming. Don't know if I saw that before. In space, if you miss, the projectile will just fly further until it hits something. Maybe I should rethink Simple Spaceman as operator. You'd think you need some training, for sure. Alright, and then Gomitarka showed up, which is awesome. I like... Old memory just popped up, says Eli. I want to know what the hot it is. I am writer who is good at word. Alright. We read that awesome opening line. Oh yeah, Gomatarka said to Tenacity, it was very kind of you to offer to do a read-over of the work in progress, but it's in French. Then maybe you can talk to Amelie about that, because she is French and living in Scotland at the moment, and I'm sure she would be happy to read some actual French for a change. Yeah. So like Siobhan says, do not trash those manuscripts. No matter how much hot garbage you think whatever you wrote is, never delete it. Keep it. If you can't rework it later into something you can use, then you can always borrow stuff from it that will end up in other stories. I cut something like 20,000 words out of the manuscript of A Few Good Elves, and it became the sort of the foundation of a novella that was written about the people who were still at home, and it was called Homefront, right? It was published in a limited edition book bundle. It will be republished as part of the Toy Soldier Saga series in a collection at some point, which will probably not appear until, definitely not till after book 3, probably not after till book 4, because spoilers. And yeah, but you can get it in advance if you want spoilers as one of the add-ons or as one of the stories available at the Kickstarter. So that's an option. So yeah, you can use it. Like, don't, yeah, you don't throw it out. I like this. I mean, we've been over the point, but I like what Daz had to say here. All our writing is total crap until you go back over with a chainsaw, shovel, and patches. There's going to be an event at Writers Conduit this weekend. I'm going to find out the time for you. It's on Sunday. It's close to the end. Is that it? Our worst piece. Our stinkers are okay. This is Benji of Tale Foundry. and that's to get back to work for Al, so I'm going to do that as soon as I finish this comment here. Benji of Tale Foundry and Janet Forbes of World Anvil are going to get together and share with us some of their crappiest writing so that you know that you can rework it and it will be fine. These are both, well-known published authors, right? If their first pieces are crap, maybe you'll feel a little less bad about yours. That is at, I needed the time for that. That is 11 a.m. Pacific on Sunday the 27th, which would therefore be 2 p.m. Eastern, and you are French there, Gomi, so assuming you're in France, then that would be what? It's 6 p.m. UTC, so either 7 or 8 p.m. for you. I think, yeah. So yeah, check it out. And that will be on the Tale Foundry channel. Right? But again, go to Writer's Conduit, the website, and you can navigate everything. Ooh, I definitely want to check out Tenacity's YouTube channel here. I'm going to try to do that before we go. I'm going to try to scroll back if I can. Okay, I gotta get back to work for 3 minutes. No, that's not where I was. I was here. That's where I wanted it. There we go. that's finished the chapter and the part, actually. We're about to get into the editing of part 3. So we'll set that up, and we will continue now with catching up on the chat here. Are we almost at 4 o'clock already? Holy shit. Okay. I guess because I actually got some writing done. Moonflower says to Barbarossa, 0 out of 10. Do not recommend making your own calendar. Just the Gregorian calendar with new words is definitely much better for the time, effort versus use scenario. Yes, it can be very difficult to do your own calendar with the current calendar system, but Chronos is coming for those of you who use World Anvil. Tenacity says, I would say that I haven't ever really cared about a calendar in a book, so maybe don't worry too much. Yeah, agreed. Most people don't care about such details. The only reason I hate that shit, by the way, the only reason why I'm keeping track of it so diligently for this is because the passage of time is really important, right? And I have to keep track of that to know what everybody is doing, just because things are so complex, right? Because it's kind of an epic scale over the course of the series. You know, I gotta know what multiple characters are doing multiple times. I gotta know when key battles happen. Yeah. So, otherwise I would not bother. Tenacity says New York is a cool place, but I actually preferred Boston. The people caring about calendars are those who write fan fiction, says Emily. Moon says to Emily, it's true, but hey, Moon feels a bit called out there. Rowan says, I really should tell Chris he should listen to the VOD for this. Yes, probably he really does want to listen to the VOD for this one. We've done a lot of talk about writing craft advice and about, you know, things to keep in mind when you're starting out. It's been a very good episode for that, I think. I might mark it as something special when I upload it to YouTube because it is unusually good for that. So yeah, he should watch this one. Hail Hydrate, thank you very much for the Hydrate, Dr. PDQ. Yeah, what happened in year 0? I guess I already answered that question about, you know, for each of the groups. Oh, Tenacity needs to go, has to sleep. Good night. Thank you for joining us. You're long gone by now, but sleep well if you catch the rest of the VOD later, Tenacity. It was a pleasure talking to you today, and you were very helpful. Good work on that opening line. Oh, Siobhan is providing information. Excellent. Because Siobhan is streaming the editor panel. Awesome. James says, what is it called when you know you've done wrong and you're trying to prove you're a good person again, but don't correct the original issue? You're not moving on from the issue, though. Example, someone keeps stealing, but they save a cat and then ask for the stealing to be forgiven when they keep stealing. I would call that bargaining. Forgiveness bargaining or buying salvation. Impenitent, that's a good one. Barbarossa says, I am still calling my mages wet sleeves since I think it's cool now. So do I. I'm glad you stuck with it because I thought that was awesome. It communicated a lot about your world in a very short word and the choice of it, so that's excellent. Oh, hey, Macaro. Good to see you. I guess you snuck in while I wasn't looking. Gotta move stuff. Getting stabbed tomorrow. Good luck with the stabbing. My mom got her second stab, like, yesterday. Things are happening. Jamie's is coming up in, like, a little over a week. James says, if you got a cable that is damaged and you put a new one in and take the old one out, that's replacing. I'm not being mental? Yes, that's called replacing. Makara says, first stab. My wife got stabbed 2 days ago. My second is scheduled at the end of July. Excellent. That's excellent. 2 weeks off at the start of September, long enough for the second shot. So, fingers crossed we can go to Portugal then. Good luck, Macaro. I hope you can go to Portugal. I am going to see my grandkids for the first time in like 2 years now on the 1st of July. So that's worth noting. All my normal streams on the 1st of July, and I'm sorry, I realize it's the beginning of Tourney of Tales and the beginning of summer camp, and it's right smack in the middle of my Kickstarter, and by all logic, you know, I should be here and I should be streaming. But I will not be, because I will be seeing my grandkids. I'm sorry, I love you, but grandkids. I haven't seen them in 2 years. We're going to do a Canada Day barbecue. I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, so I'll be back on the 2nd, and we will continue. So. My excuse for missing my bedtime by several hours was CSS, says Emily. Okay. Well, shit, I've got 2 showcases to do, and Emily's usually takes an age. Well, Emily has taken age again. I'm sorry, I lost track of time because we've been having a good conversation. Okay, this is actually relatively short for one of Emily's, so I will certainly have time to do that. Siobhan, I might have to save yours for tomorrow. I am now doing a Kickstarter special stream on Thursdays from noon to 2 p.m. Pacific time. So that would be 3 p.m. Eastern and 7 p.m. UTC, 8 p.m. in the UK. It should directly follow the World Anvil stream. So let's see here, just to make sure I've got it properly scheduled in the ASC calendar. Thursday. Yeah, Diane Writes Kickstarter Edition. Yes, also tomorrow is State of the Multiverse. I don't know if I'm actually going to do 2 hours of Diane actually writes. I will do your showcase probably in the 2nd hour of Diane Writes Kickstarter Edition tomorrow, if that's okay with you, Siobhan. It will be, 1 p.m. our time, I believe. So, if that's okay. Moon's like, I'm cracking up at the pure evil of this one Twitter post punching holes in poison ivy by leaves and putting a glitter bomb. That is evil. Sounds nice and cool in the UK, guys. I'm jealous. It's about 35 degrees Celsius here, I'm sure. 33 to 35. Probably more like 33, 32, but it's muggy. Twitch signed you out. Oh, it does that once a month. Just because, you know, it wants you to renew yourself once a month. Hello, Masadis. Good to see you. Oh, and hello, Bob. It's the best named app on the internet, says Dinosaur Bob. Twitch, for sure. Aim for how it behaves and what it makes its users do. Yeah, exactly. Eli says, I feel like I have a bruise on my ass. Wonderful. That was probably TMI, but that's okay. Right? Which is weird because I don't remember doing anything recently that might have bruised me. Sunburn. Haven't been outside either. You were 2 days ago, and you sat in the lawn chair for like 3 hours doing filming with me, so maybe that was it. The Daddy Bars of Mechanical Bowl lately, says Bob. Yeah, Mr. Twinkle may have kicked you while you were both asleep, and neither one of you noticed. That does happen. What? Says Pride? You got writing done? I did. I got lots of editing done. I feel very good about it, actually. I'm finished part 2 on book 2. Uh-oh. Dad says, I just realized who the big bad boss in this conflict is. The author. Quips Bob. Bob's amazing that way. Dad's just like, grandkids first! Yep, that's right. Grandkids first. Sorry. Yeah. Moon, Pat, Sable. You don't need to justify yourself. Oh, good. Bob says, I'll fill some of your July 1st slot, Sable. My stream that day is before the prompt drop, and I wanted to do a prompt unpack. Awesome. Feel free to take the slot. That would be really great. I don't know if I've canceled it on the schedule yet, but I'm going to do that as soon as I finish this stream. Yeah, take it. That would be great. People want summer camp stuff. get them hyped for sure. Also, Tourney of Tales begins on the 1st, so you can take people right into one of the early Tourney of Tales streams. That's cool. Excellent. Thank you. I appreciate you covering that for me. Brilliant. Good night, James. The Twitter post is perfect in its evilness. I'll look at it later. I don't really believe in TMI, says Eli. But yeah, probably TMI. When I say stuff like that, people say to me, that's TMI there, Diane. You know, and I'm like, okay, I don't know, it's my ass, it's a body part. I have an ass, I have feet. Why is talking about the pain on my ass any different than talking about the pain in my feet? I don't know. Okay. So this is Francine. And Siobhan, I guess because you were having trouble with Twitch there, you did not see it, but I'm gonna have to do your showcase tomorrow. Okay, see you later, Bob. Because we are running out of time. I have 10 minutes left and I've got to do Amelie still. So we're gonna do yours tomorrow after the first hour. Like it'll be in the second hour of the special edition Kickstarter stream, which will follow World Anvil's community stream. Right? And again, right, we're doing that for 2 hours. I'm going to be doing world building in the Toy Soldier Saga. I'm going to focus on that for the first hour, just because it is to promote the Kickstarter, but in the second hour, we'll do your showcase. Following that will be an hour of State of the Multiverse. That is our community stream where we let people know what's coming up in the next month in our worlds, at our Patreon, here on Twitch, and everything else. I was going to skip it with so much else going on, but there's so much to talk about, I really cannot afford to. If you want to know what's going on, don't miss it. And then following that, we will have 2 to 3 hours of Diane Actually Writes, where we will do writing sprints and nothing but. There will be no showcases. Depending if I get my shit together and I'm exhausted by that time. It'll be how long that is. Okay, let's go. Amelie's article, Introduction to the Empire of the Covenant. We're going to share the link in the chat. I totally caught up, didn't I? Okay. Short book synopsis. After a childhood spent in an orphanage... Oh, and we have a French version of the article, if you would prefer it en français. We will look at it en français. I do read a little French. I did study some French in school. And then back here for the English version. Brilliant. Okay. Short book synopsis. After a childhood spent in an orphanage, Lady Annabelle Alacen is back to ruling her house and estate. Yet her long absence has led to their political and economic weakening. In addition, Dark Lord Viridis Liren, long-standing enemy of her family. Viridis? I guess. I haven't completely finished the translation yet. Nah, no worries. Long-standing enemy of her family is getting ready to finally destroy her house. In a hurry to find allies that could help her survive the confrontation, Annabelle initiates courtship rituals, year-long social events, nice, that would have suitors attempt to please her in a bid for her attention. Yet when she receives her suitors' letters of intent, single S in or no S in English, right? It is only to discover that the Dark Lord himself has sent her one. You need the word has there because of the tense you're using. Has sent her one. I want to read this book now. This is great. Clearly, we have like a Georgian feel, kind of a politics and diplomacy, tension and plot, possibly a romance. I'm into it. Oh, look at the tooltip. Okay. Viridis Lyrian. Okay, Viridis Lyrian.
Viridis Lyrian.
Thank you. I wasn't too far off. Awesome. Genre, high fantasy with romance subplots. I was right about the romance. Awesome. The manor from where a house rules. You need an S in English, their estate. Beautiful castle picture. Story type, series of 5 books, each focusing on a different main character belonging to a different political and social group. Single group, no S. Location, an empire made of hundreds of federal estates, independent countries whose sizes range, rather than size ranges. Sizes range from city-state to vast. I think you could use nation instead of country there because you already used countries once in that sentence. A society where power is everything and manners are primordial to avoid making enemies you cannot afford to have. Yes, so it is a Georgian feel romance with political implications. Hell yeah, I'm there. Okay, unique selling point. Explore the conflicts between the all-powerful mages ruling the empire, as well as the relationships they have with those that are subjected to their rules. You might want to use who instead of that, although that is technically fine. Tone. The tone changes depending on the book from nightcore, we have explanations, hanging on a thin thread between hope and despair. Given enough effort, groups of individuals may be able to make a dramatic effect on the world, even if true permanence is just beyond reach. To bleakcore. Filled with protagonists doing bad things with good intentions, proverbially passing the hot potato of despair from one party to the next. The only way the world can improve is a complete cultural overhaul. Is that what I'm writing? Bleakcore? Okay. Alright. The Alicenne Ballroom by Amelie with public domain pictures. That is well done. I love your flowers. You've got your carnivorous Alicenne flowers hanging out. Power is everything in the world of the Empire of the Covenant, and people are born with a great disparity of power. Those who have almost no magic are completely subjugated to the will of the immensely powerful lords and ladies, and even those have to constantly fight. Even they is the word you're looking for there, rather than those. Even they have to constantly fight between themselves for survival. Anyone who cannot find and keep allies is condemned to servitude or death. Yet things are changing. Individuals are gathering together with new visions and hopes for the future in such big numbers. Large numbers is probably better there, but big is not incorrect. Then not, that is the word you want there rather than that not all of them can be crushed. Excellent. Time of revolution. Right. Siobhan, you might also want to talk to Kayetan about Georgian stuff because he is writing that Gaslamp fantasy world as well. So you guys should put your heads together. That's what we're here for. Sit down together and have like a Georgian brainstorming and then do some, do like a write-in together over Discord. You guys probably are even on a very similar schedule that way. You know, that would be... It's just a suggestion. Setting the scene. The Imperial Library of the Senate by Pixabay. Beautiful library picture. Also, I would like to live there. You know what I do? I would section off with material, you know, like big, thick velvet curtains or something. One of those separate nooks with the books each night. The world. The Empire of the Covenant spans a whole continent and is made up as what you need up there, right? Or composed of a myriad of independent estates, all with their own political systems and local cultures. You have to make those plural because we are talking about plural estates. So, you know, subject agreement, right? Yeah. I need to make a picture of the Senate at some point, says Amelie, but I'll have to draw that. Yeah, I should, says Siobhan. Excellent. And then let me move in. Yep, you bet. I know. She and I are going to, she's going to put her little house here, and I'm going to put mine there, and we're going to, keep moving it down the way once a night, or once every night, and read all the books. Okay. Since its foundation, the Empire has been highly divided, first between the previously warring North and South coalitions, now between the light and dark political parties. The Empire is ruled by a Senate, yet this body has very little power beyond arbitrating trade disputes, need an S there, and stopping anyone from using magic that could destroy the entire continent. All lords and ladies ruling an estate are members of the Imperial Senate, and all that it takes to join their number is to kill one of them and be able to hold the estate against further attacks. Yee! Nice! Savage! Who's the Emperor or Empress? Because it's Imperial, right? Why should I have to obey anyone weaker than me? Power is might, and I am certainly far more powerful than that imbecile lord. Let my will dictate the life of every inhabitant of the estate. All young ambitious fools ever. Lady Annabelle Alison. Good picture. I like her face. She's pretty, but not like heartbreakingly beautiful. Her eyes are intelligent. She looks like someone who reads a lot. I like her. I would probably approach her to hang out with her. Yeah, it's what you need to read more quickly. And so read more books, Siobhan. Yeah, sleep, what is that? Yeah, it's what you need to read more quickly, so read more books. Yeah, and then Moonflower says to Siobhan, I think it produces wool. Oh no, that's a sheep. Okay, that's great. Main character. The main character of Book 1 is Lady Annabelle Alison. Point of view character of Book 1 grew up in an orphanage in Ariani until she discovered she was the last surviving heiress of House Alison. Well, that explains why she doesn't look like a savage, stuck-up bitch. That's awesome, right? Because she was actually kind of raised among the common folk. Good stuff. And actually among the really poor. Yeah. To survive, Dark Lord Veridice Illyrian's attempt to destroy her house, she is now starting courtship rituals to find allies. Yep. She grew up in an orphanage without knowing of her inheritance until an incident brought her to the estate of Alison. There, her magical link with the land made her realize she was the lost heiress of the House of Alison, one of the two founding houses of the Empire. She made the controversial decision to isolate the estate behind powerful lords for 10 years so as to buy enough time to learn how to defend herself. However, this has greatly weakened the economy of her estate and alienated her own people. She has now run out of time and needs to face her enemies. The weight of all the expectations resting on Annabelle was crushing. No matter who they were, all had opinions about what her duty to her house and her people should be, and they were far too happy with making them known. Yet she was the one who had because everything is past tense here. That's the dragon of productivity, or that's the end of the sprint, for those of you sprinting. Yet she was the one who had to face her enemies and deal with the consequences of her choices. Whether they were, whether they be slavery or death. Actually, that works. Still, she should not let fear make her shame her ancestors. I like it. Siobhan says, but I hyper-focus when I'm reading. Moon says to Amelie, I think either I based a picture off that or you based that picture off mine at some point. Well, we are following each other on Artbreeder. Emily says it's possible. I also find that a lot of pictures on Artbreeder are looking extremely similar. They must all be inbred by that point. Yeah, it's pretty true. There's a lot that look very similar to each other. The problem is that you're supposed to have a public domain picture to upload. You can't upload it if you don't own the copyright, so it's limited as to the initial stock of people. They need to expand that. Parchment with ritual instructions by Amelie with images from Pixabay and Vectizi. That's cool. Magic. Everyone has some degree, no S needed there, of magical power, but how much varies greatly. Some people have quasi-inexistent power and cannot practice magic, while the most powerful mages have godlike powers. An important aspect of magic is line gifts, special magic skills that are specific to every house. As a family will specialize in similar magics over the several generations, they will develop specific magical skills innate to their family, though they still need to be trained to gain a real proficiency, and secret spells. Ancestral or lands magic forms the base of the religion practiced in the Empire. As people leave a trace of their magic behind when they die, several generations of a family living in the same place imbues that location with a special magic. What a good explanation for that. Okay, that magic can be called upon by their descendants for protection and advice. This also makes possible the existence of a link between the ruler of an estate and their land, allowing them special protections as well as knowledge about the earth and all those who live there. An example of jewelry with magical properties by Amelie with Pixabay and Victisi. You're doing some great graphic alteration work. I wish I was as good at it. As soon as she finished consuming the apple, the magic of the equinox ritual rushed over Annabelle. She could not help but gasp at the sudden influx of power flowing through her veins. The connection she felt immediately with all the living beings standing in her estate, the awareness of her land, her ancestors' magic, turning its attention towards her, the sudden all-encompassing sense of belonging. She was finally home at last. Conflicts. Surreptitious attack by Amelie with Unsplash. Nice. Light versus dark. Conflicts. Light and the dark referred to two political factions as well as two different styles of magic. I was looking for an explanation of this, so this is cool. The Light faction has traditionally been ruled by the Alicen, although in the absence of Annabelle, it has been headed by Xenophony, Elysiani. It's Elysiani.
Xenophen Illusiani.
Nice. Okay. The Dark faction is headed by House Alicen's sworn enemy, Lord Veridici Lyrian, also colloquially known as the Dark Lord. The Light faction stands for more regulations against everything. Their goal is to assure the safety of everyone in the Empire. The Dark refuses to extend the current regulations and claim to stand for freedom. Freedom to practice any magic you want, from benign to human sacrifices. Both factions have been on the brink of war for several decades now, and it looks like Annabelle's return could be the trigger they were all waiting for. Nice. The government. The government is struggling against the lords and ladies to gain a minimum of power so as to actually accomplish its task of regulating the empire. Some of them seem to have become fed up with their limitations, as seen with the kidnapping of baby Annabelle and her abandonment in an orphanage. What else have they been up to? Why didn't they kill her? That's the thing I'm wondering. We're ignoring the dragon, by the way, because we're over time already. But why didn't they kill her, right? Is it that there's magical consequences for murdering the heiress of a house? Do all the ancestors come to kick your ass? That is there like a magical backlash that you might blow up with? I want to know, right? Or was it a happy accident that they ended up abandoning her in an orphanage instead, right? Or was it, shit, we thought this was going to work and now there's too much heat, so we are out of this, right? Which is it? If you explain it in your book, that's fine. I'm just curious. Oh. Emily says they wanted to control her as an adult. So why leave her in the orphanage and not raise her themselves then? Welcome back, Bob. Just killing her wouldn't be that useful for them. Yeah, but why not keep her in, like, a prison? Why abandon her to an orphanage where she can, possibly find her own way? I mean, granted, I'm sure orphanages are not exactly happy places in this world where power and economic inequality are a big issue, right? I'm sure they're, I'm sure it's not Oliver Twist, right? But at the same time, there's a lot of things you can't control there. So, I'm interested in that. I ask these questions because I watch a lot of police procedurals and, mysteries, and I think about motivations of criminals a lot, right? So, Yeah, exactly. Like Masadi said, why not raise her and brainwash her? That would be much easier to control her then. Maybe something went wrong, and their plan to do that didn't work out, and then they had to abandon her in the orphanage or something. I don't know. Or maybe they thought they controlled the orphanage. Anyway, stuff to think about. The commoners. The place of the commoners in society varies greatly depending on the estate where they live and how much freedom the local rulers grant them. The commoners are, of course, greatly dissatisfied with the situation, and there are rumors that they are communicating with each other throughout the empire. This is a really long sentence with no commas. Okay, let's relook at this. The place of the commoners in society varies greatly depending on the estate where they live, comma, and how much freedom the local rulers grant them, just so people can take a breath. The commoners are, comma, of course, comma, greatly dissatisfied with the situation, comma, and there are rumors that they are communicating with each other throughout the empire, and starting to organize themselves. I think that'd be a little better. Give people a place to breathe. I have asthma. I can't say that sentence. Okay, yet how could their rulers take them seriously when they have so little magic at their disposal? Well, you're gonna have to develop fucking firearms, aren't you? Okay. Rowan's like, why not indoctrinate her to their point of view? Yeah, great minds. You guys actually should really, if you're not chatting already, Rowan and Masadi's, you should. For one thing, you're both really into like spinning and fabric arts and, you know, stuff like that and the way they used to do stuff. And for another, I think you guys both have evil minds. Bob says, look at Tom Riddle. Emily says they had to hide her from everyone else in the Empire. They would not have had the power to prevent people from taking her away. Okay. And they wanted to force her into a binding magical contract that would have put her completely in their control. Chapter 1 is Annabelle escaping from that and finding her way to the estate. Okay, that does make sense. Right? Put her somewhere that they can keep an eye on her, but since they obviously can't control her, right, or keep her hidden where they would be, then yeah, okay, that does make sense. And then they figure that's going to work, but it doesn't. Sure, people who think they can control other people are 100% arrogant. It never fucking works. It never works. Sooner or later, they will surprise you, and you'll go, what? Okay. Daz says, on the other hand, due to expected retaliation, if there was any trace back to the real plotters of the kidnapping, the actual kidnappers were simply told to hide the child away. And being criminals, they eventually got busted for different crimes, and their child was put into an orphanage. That can make sense. I'm sure Rowan feels your pain, Moon. Feels like 23 Celsius. Not with hot flashes, damn it. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and this section is further sort of primer articles, things you need to know to understand the universe. Really cool, Emily. Yeah, that's as always, awesome. I want to read this book. So my only critique was, this seems thin, this story explanation for why they did that. Maybe work on that a little bit to flesh it out more. I think the basic idea is solid, you know, and I haven't read it, so maybe it's much clearer in the book, and that's awesome, right? But you might want to rework a bit. Oh, did Automod not like you? What did Automod say? Her devil? Jesus Christ. Okay. I hate Automod so much, I would shut it right the hell off. I can handle trolls. If you're an asshole, I'll just ban you. I got no patience for that. I don't need mommy telling my, telling my chatters what they can and cannot say. I'm perfectly innocent. Adjust the halo being held up by her devil hordes. Yes. I am sweet and innocent, honest. Ask Sable. Yep, 100%. She's sweet and innocent. You bet. All right, as always, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. This was a lot of fun. We are 15 minutes over time. Who is up? Geeks Anonymous is on the schedule. Or are people into another writing stream? Anybody got any thoughts about who's up that we can read? looks like Travis is up. Cat is up. Madhouse is up. Satoru is up, I think. If this is... And thanks to everyone for the discussion, says Emily. Yeah, thank you all for the discussion. I had a great time today. This was good conversation. Yeah, Sable says with a wicked smile. Yeah. Bob says, I've got what could turn out to be the most hilarious RPG game session I ever GM'd tonight. Unfortunately, I can't go into details because spoilers for Moon. Awesome. Moon gurs at the spoilers. Nice. Yeah, I see Travis is up. I see Satoru is up. You know what? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. We're going to raid the Just Joshing podcast. We haven't done that before, but I'm going to be on it. We're going to be... When is it? It's on my schedule. I put it in. I did. I think it was later in July. Lady Writes. Where is it? Oh, I must be overshooting. Yes, there it is. I'll be on there next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific. That'll be 7 p.m. Eastern for it's like stupid o'clock in the morning in the UK. So, but it might actually be a decent hour in Oz because let's see, 4 p.m. Pacific is, well, it's not that bad. I guess 11 p.m. UTC, so midnight in the UK. Yeah. And we're going to talk about my Kickstarter and Kickstarter for writers. Eli will also be there with us on that show. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to raid the Just Joshing podcast. If you haven't seen them, so that you can know where to find them and check them out. They do, I found out, actually, they are an Aurora winning podcast, so that's something I didn't know. The Aurora Awards are the Canadian Science Fiction and Fantasy Awards. So, that's cool. Right, I'm very excited about it. Oh, come on now. Okay, raid... So slow. Just Joshing podcast? Yeah, that's what we're going to do. In the meantime, okay, so we're going to shout out a couple people. If you haven't checked out Travis, go do that. And Satoru is also up. They are a fun writing streamer. I really like Travis. I just had Travis on my show recently. He's releasing a new book in his Silver and Smith series. So definitely check that out. Alright, and I'm going to see you guys out one more round with the Kickstarter ad. And once that's done, we'll be rating. When you get to Just Joshing, don't forget to yell, prepare to be boarded, because we are the Sables Privateers. Thank you all so much for your support and for joining me today. Just one last check on the Kickstarter here before we do that. Looks like it's still at 2807, 53 backers. That's awesome, guys. I really appreciate it. We're just past the first week now. Yep, brilliant. Okay. Have a good one, everybody. Hi there. My name is Diane Morrison, and I'm a science fiction and fantasy author. I'm looking for your help to publish my novel, A Few Good Elves. 3 years ago, you guys helped me publish Once Upon a Time in the Weird West, which is a collection of my Weird Western serial stories. And 2 years ago, you helped me to edit and publish Gunsmoke and Dragonfire, a fantasy western anthology. I figure we make a winning team. The Toy Soldier Saga is a fantasy space opera universe. It has all of the elements of space opera science fiction, but everything's done by magic. I don't think there's anything out there that is quite like it. And I really hope that you'll enjoy it and the extended universe that has been created around it.
I am Chris. I play Arian, the grizzled older ex-enlisted elf.
Remember, we've only got 30 days to make this happen. With your support, you can have some of the art that's been created for the books, you can have the stories, the ebook, a trade paperback copy, a hardcover copy, you might be able to get it signed. You could even get the entire collection of everything that I have previously published or been published in. Thanks in advance for your support, and thank you for listening.